Hello, friends. Good day. I'm here with a new venture. It's book review based on the collection of books which I'm having at my home library. I have what you see in that almirah and one more almirah full of books. Good collection of books. They are very good books of good quality, and I don't read trash literature. So they are regarding stories. They are regarding history. They are regarding culture. They are regarding good novels. They are regarding art, they are regarding science and everything. I read each and everything, including dance, music, engineering, and biographies as well. Uh, I thought of sharing you in a series of talks by introducing the books I have with you and give an insight into the very good books which are I'm having, about which I have got a very good positive feedback that indeed you are having a very good collection of books. I thought of sharing with you and thought of beginning with a book that is purchased some maybe 8 months back, that's regarding the folklores of my place Malabar, is the northern part of Kerala, the tales of Malabar. It's written by the author name is Sri Kumari Ramachandran. So that's a book that has got all the folklores or the Etihya of the land of Malabar in the English language. It has basically, this is published by Darpan, an imprint of Prism Books, available at Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Kochi. Author's name, as I said, is Sri Kumari Ramachandran. Uh, so that's first published in 2020. That's the latest book, and the contents are like it's given here like this. They are about the Zamarins of Malabar, the Kolatari kings of Malabar, the Arakal royal family, Kottayattu Puranat royal family, Karthanad, Kurumbranad, Aladathu Surupam, and the war stories, our history, the Mysore invasion, the European invasion in Malabar, and Angat Chegons of Malabar, Chegons of Malabar, Kujali Marakars, Mamangam, Lakidi, Kozhikode, Angadi, Alathur Thambi, and Gurukals, and lot of such stories, interesting stories. And finally, about Theums of Malabar and Temples of Malabar. The whole comes to 387 pages. Book cost is around 600, and it lists all the famous tales of Kerala. So it follows an order, as we can see. It starts from the Kozhikode Zamarins, the Kannur Kolatharis, the Karthanad, the Kurumbranad, Valluvanad, then the wars, and the story goes ahead. There are many stories, including uh, when the Europeans, the British first kept their foot in Kerala. They went behind secrets in the jungles of Wayanad, as this book says. It tells about the story of Lekkidi. Lekkidi is a place near Wayanad, and there was a person who was a black magician and who was considered a disturbance to the many people in that place because he violated from the normal norms of, because black magic in Kerala is not the usual black magic as is known in the outside world. Black magic and or you can call the other Salmandravada and Durmandravada. So that was one of the things that Parashurama instructed some people to do. The Durmandravada follows a master and slave relationship where it is not like the Salmandravada, the Samohan based. It is based on master and slave, and there should be perfect following of the rules. The rules should be perfectly followed, and the master is not supposed to violate the rules with his slave, or that's a word used, slave. They are bound by rules, okay, and they can violate the rules. If they violate the rules, the master also will be in trouble. So that is the pattern of black magic practiced in Kerala. So that is an acceptable thing from the nature's point of view, and it was instructed long back to the protect for the protection of the state of Kerala, land of Kerala. So that talks about the first English encounter with the black magician and how they tricked him, and he lost his eyesight, and then he went in a rage, he went mad, he died, and his ghost, and he was chained in the chain tree near Lakiri. The story goes, and this English one guy tricked him, and they gave him a Google to wear a lens, and they asked to friendly chat, and in between they asked to you look at the sun at the top, and his eyes got burned, and he died and killed him. And this guy was chased by the his lieutenants of this guy, black magician, and they killed him near Panamaram, and that guy died. That is the first encounter that they tell in the book of Europeans who played the game given in this book, The Tales of Malabar, and that person is still chained in the chain tree in Lekadi near Wayanad, in the Ghats of Wayanad, as it is famous here. That's the story of that person. And there are many other stories, the fights of Parashi Raja, the fights of Zamarins, the invasion struggles, and how the British, all those stories of Etihya stories, the Tantric stories, the stories of the culture of Kerala, the Tantra is involved, the Tantra stories are involved, and it's not just history, it's legend as they collected from everywhere, and it's a beautiful book. And there are many things which are not seen probably everywhere. It's collected from all over Malabar, the northern part of Kerala, and it also has a section on the many temples of Malabar. So that engages with the real stories of history, because if you go beyond some 350 400 years into the history of Kerala, you will find that all the stories behind are involved with Tantra, and there is Mandravadam or Tantra involved in it, astrology involved in it, the Gupta Vidya involved in it, and suddenly then after the history changes, and then logic is applied by the Englishman. So there, in these cases, when you go back beyond 350 400 years, it is the Kerala that is filled with tantric rituals and wonders and nature's amazing charisma and unknown secrets, and such secrets cannot be explained by modern science, as they don't have proof to prove that. So since they follow the pattern of logic, uh, probably they stays away from it, or they say that we don't know maybe, or the history is unclear and the history is abruptly stopped there. And so that is a case. That is how we read such books with faith, faith in the person who wrote the book, and the myths that is of this land, the faith in the culture of this land, and what we heard from our childhood, and all those things. So that gives an insight to the land's culture, and the beautiful land of Kerala, the northern part of it, the Malabar, and the capital of Malabar, Kozhikode, and the Kolatharis and the Samodaris and the Mamangam festival. And nowadays you see movies made regarding all these stories, right? So these are the stories, very interesting to read, and a lot of pages. It's not a small book, it is almost 400 pages, and I think the author, the lady, has done a wonderful work for making this book available easily as well, and lot of good stories. And I didn't read the book completely, but I read many important stories and found it very interesting. Thought of sharing with you. And the picture front page looks also very colorful. The person on the temple festival, the Theyyam dressed person, and many appreciation also are there. The lore and legends section, as it is called. So uh, she has done a wonderful job. I think about the author, she's a bilingual writer based in Kochi. She has authored 33 books spreading over a vast spectrum of subjects, namely short stories, novels, biographies, music. She translated the legendary Malayalam book Edihya Mala. There's English translation published by Madhurabhumi Books, Kozhikode. And I purchased this from the Madhurabhumi Books as well from Kozhikode. I think she has done a very good job in publishing these old legends and lores of her state, and she has won awards as well. And the coveted Dr. Suvarna Nalapat Award for the translation of Edihya Mala. Uh, she's a B high grade music artist of All India Radio and Doordarshan. She served as the member of the executive committee of Kerala Sangeeta Nada Academy, and she is also served jury member of Kerala State Film Award Committee, and much more. She is uh, very active person, and that's a good work, I believe. So, because the Idihimala covers all the legends connected with probably a phase of time that was much behind the arrival of the European, or almost the same time. Many stories are there, but this is specifically about the Malabar stories, and she has collected it from all over the northern part of Kerala. It talks about, for example, the Odeons, the British banned the Odeons, they say, and the Odeons were dangerous people. They were cruel people who killed the upper caste, and that is the logic, and that is their that is what they say. Why they do that? Because they want the poor people arrange them to, or some of the other people, and then some landlords make them fight with each other and they kill each other, and all those stories. You saw the movie Odeon, right? The story of Odeons, and that is not a Sattvic Odeon as you see Mohanlal in the movie. This is a cruel Odeon, and a black magician kind of cruel person. They were dreaded and fearful, and people used to sit hiding at night. That be careful, child. There's Odeon. Maybe the mother advises the child. We heard such stories in YouTube, and there is also many stories of the Nambudiri Brahmins, the Nayars, the Tantrics, the Christian, the other faith are also covered. The Arakel family, the Muslims, and some of the Christian stories, all painstakingly covered all this, and that's a very good book. And many other books like Bhagavati and Ali Buddha. That's a Muslim story, I guess. Beautifully covered. Themes of Malabar, which are mostly in Kannur. The themes are the temples of Malabar, about the famous temples, including the Tirunelli temple, Loganar Kavu, famous temple for Kalari, Madai Kavu, Kannur, Kottayur, Mahadeva temple, and many other 14 temples. And she has also talked about the 400-year-old irrigation systems in the last pages. That also looks interesting. That is the irrigation system of Kerala. There's a story behind it, how it came into being. It's regarding the Tirunelli temple, I guess, and it's a very interesting story. And so, this is a book worth reading, and it talks about almost all the warriors, the Chegavas of Malabar, and the kings, and the tantric practices they did, the blessings of the goddesses, Mata Devi's blessings, Chamundi Devi's blessings, all those stories. And there may be more than this cover stories, but these are the important stories which we would like to hear in a single book, I believe, and I think it's a very good book. That's my first review of my own collection of books in my home. This is my home room, my own room, my personal room rather. So it's the first book that I cover in a review, and so that's a 2020 first published, recent published book, and so that's about the book, the first book that I remind you to read if you are interested in the legends of my lands, Kerala and Malabar coast. Interestingly, I think she is from South Kerala, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, that's all same Kerala. But quite interesting book. I was surprised when I first found this book, and I read it immediately. And I didn't cover the complete book myself. I'm still going through it, but it's a very good book. Mostly, other than what you see, the stories in the Malayalam book, Aidihya the famous book in Malayalam, there are more than that stories involved in it. More recent stories, the last 200, 300 years before, and that is wonderfully covered in this book. So all the legends are covered, and this gives a fairly good idea about just the Malabar coast, other than the southern coast, because legends were classified as Vadakkan Patugal and Pekkan Patugal. So Vadakkan Patugal is the songs or ballads of the northern part of Kerala, and southern is sort of the southern part of Kerala. Southern part of Kerala has lords like the Purusha, Rani, and many other, Kalingot, Niri, and many other lords. Those were, I think, more way back in time, but northern ballads are more recent, maybe, of Tacholi, Maniko Tukurupu, and all those stories, and Aro Melchego and Unniarcha, and all those fascinating stories from Kadathanad, and Zamorin stories, and Zamorin's kingdom at the peak of his time, as they say, was from Kollam to Kollam. Kollam is a place near Calicut, Pandalayani, it was called in the past, and the Kollam there is in the southern part of Kerala. At the peak of its uh, position, power, Zamorin controlled from Kollam to Kollam, from northern part of Kerala to southern part of Kerala, and then as listed in the internet. So it was that powerful that time, the Zamorins, and how they fought wars against the Dutch, the Portuguese, and the Dutch, and later the French came and the English came, the Parsi battles, and the later Zamorin battles, and then the Indian freedom struggle. Indian freedom struggle is not part of this book, but yes, that's later part when the Zamorin finally commits suicide because he couldn't have any other. The final stage when the Calicut was the Kozhikode was attacked by Tipu Sultan's raid, and after that, and the story further goes that they couldn't capture southern part of Kerala, Trivandrum, where they failed, and all those stories. This is mainly about the Tales of Malabar. So that's the book I wanted to talk to you regarding. Uh, Tales of Malabar, Lores and Legends of Northern Kerala, written by Mrs. Sri Kumari Ramachandran, published by Darpan. Darpan is an imprint of Prism Books Private Limited, Bangalore. It costs 600 rupees. It's worth reading. It's a nice book if you want to understand the culture of Kerala. So I think I will briefly end this, my first explanation or trying to interpret a book for you, the interesting things it have, and finally I will give you an idea how many chapters it has. Yes, it has 1, 2, 3, 10, 36. Yes, it has 40 chapters, beautifully written. Yeah, 40 chapters, beautifully written. And about the poets, yeah, that's also covered. Not just fighting wars, about the poets' culture, Kunjan Nambiar, all those things. Yeah, very interesting book. Yeah, I'll continue posting about many other books. This is my first post about a book about the culture of our land, Kerala. Thank you. Take care. Have a great day.